Welcome to the World Warriors of Capcom Cup Player Series Showcase. I'm Ultra David.
And I'm James Chen. These are the series of videos where we analyze all 16 of the players who have qualified for Capcom Cup 2014.
Yes.
Which is going to take place at the Warfield in San Francisco on December 13th, just around the corner.
Yeah.
And if you can't get there live, of course, you can watch it on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters.
So there are a couple of ways to qualify for the Capcom Cup. One way is by winning one of 10 tournaments outright that were automatic qualifier events. And then another way is by getting enough points garnered at tournaments around the world over the past year. So today, which one are we going to find?
We are actually going to be going with a Valmaster who qualified via a tournament, one of the 10 major tournaments. Valmaster, of course, is one of our 3 players from Europe.
Right.
Very strong Chun-Li player here in the Street Fighter 4 series.
Yeah, exactly. So he actually hasn't been playing for all that long. In fact, under 2 years. You know, he said he's been playing fighting games since before that, but as far as playing seriously, playing competitively, only a couple of years. So he's risen from, you know, not playing competitively at all to now here being just about the top at Capcom Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing on and off here, not really, you know, quite on the radar, but apparently he came into prominence from playing Street Fighter Cross Tekken. That's when he first started showing up and starting to make a name for himself. And once he started building up that skill and getting the tournament experience there, he then was able to shift it back to Street Fighter 4 and maintain his level of play that he's been playing. So yeah, he is now probably the strongest Chun-Li in all of Europe, and here he is at Capcom Cup.
Yeah, some people think that he's the best Chun in the world, in fact. You know, he says that no longer does he really play all that often, you know, several hours a week, maybe 6 hours a week. So I almost feel like he's one of those natural kind of players who, you know, he picked it up so quickly to go from not playing seriously to under 2 years being at Capcom Cup, and you know, he's not playing every day sort of thing. that takes a lot of innate understanding of a bunch of stuff, right? Understanding of the sort of the strategic play involved, the understanding of where to stand on screen, understanding of just sort of human decision making and how to take advantage of people, how to mix up, all that stuff. You know, there are some people who just sort of have that better than other people do, and it seems to me like he's probably one of those.
Yeah, and not only that too, but he's also pretty young. He's still a student, for example, right? So he's been able to still find time to remain good at this game.
Just 20.
And you know, the interesting thing about it too is that, you know, he uses Chun-Li, and she's good in Ultra right now. She's a pretty decent character in Ultra. But he's been using her for a while, and in fact, the first time I had heard of him was back in 2012 when Chun-Li was considered one of the weaker characters. Because I remember I would be seeing these tournament results where Valmaster would beat either Ryan Hart or Luffy in a tournament, and I saw that, you know, uses Chun-Li, and I was like, wait, what the heck is going on? You know, that was before people knew who he was, and now it's, you know, it's obviously it's not a surprise, but you know, he's been using this character super well for a very long time.
You know, keep in mind, we talked about Luffy in an earlier episode and how he's lost to so few players over the past several months. One of those players was Valmaster. Yeah,
in fact.
And there was a period of time when Luffy lost to only two people between Evo and, you know, 3 to 4 months after that. And Valmaster beat him in winners and then in grand finals of a tournament, something that nobody else has done.
Yeah, and we're going to be watching the grand finals from that tournament.
But when we watch, what kind of play style are we going to be looking for?
Yeah, so I mean, the interesting thing about it is a Street Fighter is kind of game where you have to be very, we always say, you know, economics of buttons, right? You can't keep just hitting buttons a lot and stuff like that. Valmaster actually kind of flies in the face of that in a lot of ways. When you watch his Chun-Li, granted Chun-Li has really good normals, one of the best sets of normals, and he really takes advantage of that, but he is hitting buttons a lot. I mean, even from like half a screen away, he'll throw out a whiff stand fierce. You know, and it's really interesting to see that style of play and able to succeed so well here in this game in a very whiff punish heavy Street Fighter game.
Right.
But it doesn't hurt him.
You're right. He's a very active player. Buttons is a big part of it, but also just mobility. You know, he's constantly dashing around, focus dashing, that sort of stuff. Chun-Li has a great focus and a great dash, and so that makes sense. He does his on-shoe a lot. Sort of even in wake-up situations, you know, it can be unthrowable. So he'll wake up when he's expecting a throw. Things like that you know about, but that are risky, he'll go for. And he has, you know, an offensive style. He challenges a lot.
Yeah. He basically is not content to sit there. Yeah. And turtle up and shell up, you know what I mean? He wants to take control of the situation. We're going to see that because in a lot of in this match that we're going to watch, there's a lot of situations where he's going up against Luffy, where a lot of players would just kind of all of a sudden sit back like, okay, I need to ride this situation out, and he just doesn't do that. He always wants to keep going and keep making sure that he's actively trying to do something.
You know, I was very interested to find out that he put in a lot of work in Cross Tekken, and that's where he got really good. And then and now he's applying that to Street Fighter 4. He's really the only person I could think about who came to prominence in SF Cross Tekken and then went to SF4.
Right.
Right. There are not too many people who did that, but you can, I think, see the Cross Tekken in his style. Cross Tekken has a reputation for being a very patient defensive game, but in fact there are some people who play it more offensively. And I really see that in his style, that it's a game where you can be more active and where the benefit for playing offensive footsies can be quite high.
Yeah.
Especially with a character like Chun-Li. And
he's picked a good character for this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so seeing him apply that to SF4 is very interesting because it is a little bit of a different style. When we talk about players coming from Third Strike or players who have played everything, or players who play 3D games, and they all sort of bear the mark of those games to some degree in some way. You can sort of see it in their play. And it's very interesting to me to see Cross Tekken in somebody's Street Fighter 4 play. I like it. It's good. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, why don't we just get to it right now?
Let's hop in.
And let everyone else see this as well.
So this was in Grand Finals. Now, like I said, Valmaster sent Luffy to losers. So Valmaster starts out in winners. Luffy actually reset the bracket.
Yes.
And so we're going to watch the second half of the Grand Finals.
Yeah, and the first set was pretty dominating for Luffy.
It was,
as well. And so what makes that really interesting is you can see now Valmaster, you know, he sent him to losers, so he had the upper hand, and then Luffy came back and took it, and now Valmaster has to work on trying to steal that back from him.
Right. You can see that they both have these active styles, so there's a lot of funky interactions in this.
Yeah. And keep in mind, like we said, Luffy won the first set very dominatingly, so he's got all the momentum coming into this first game.
Right. It was 3-1, if I recall correctly, for Luffy. There's that sweep we were talking about. We talked about buttons at that sort of that far range. We've already seen sweep a couple of times there.
Yeah, and also Valmaster, you see him, he's always trying to do the Hazanshu FADC back. He's trying to bait something out of Rose. But that just kind of shows how, you know, he's willing to burn the meter for that. In fact, we'll see that a couple of times. He'll even throw EX fireballs in certain situations.
It feels like he just does such a good job of being far away and then all of a sudden up close. It was only 5-10 seconds before that he was far away. And he walks in, he dashes in, focuses in.
Yeah, you see that? Like, I'm going to go back for a second here. Like, Rose activates Ultra 2 in this situation here. I think I went back a little
later, but it's cool. This gets us a chance to see how he was far away and comes all the way in all of a sudden. Luffy didn't seem like he was ready for that range.
So here we go. Activates it. Look how close Valmaster is. Throws a fireball. Like, he just wants to actively fight against those orbs.
Yeah, he really takes control.
You see her go under that Rose low forward?
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Stand forward? Yeah, that's actually really good. Oh, there it was again. So Luffy apparently is really good at focusing the Hazanshu.
Well, we'll see if Valmaster adapts to that.
Yeah, I mean, he's tried to FADC a couple of times, and unfortunately he didn't have the meter that time, so Luffy's going to take the first game here.
You can already see some of the activity we're talking about, the offensive play we're talking about, the fact that he likes to take control of situations that are not usually situations where opponents get to take control.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a couple of times where when Valmaster...
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's one of the adaptations to the focusing of Hazanshu. Is going for the counter hit. Rather than counter hit close to roundhouse into Hazanshu, he does counter hit into crouching jab.
Right, that's right, yeah. So it's really cool to see him make sure to adapt to how Luffy's playing. And so here we go. See, he's still throwing fireballs and then just anti-airs. He's just not scared of those orbs. He refuses to let Luffy take control of the situation.
Yeah, I really like how he plays with that.
Yeah, now watch, like, he's screaming, look at this. Look at all these buttons that he's hitting.
Right, yeah.
Like, you just don't see this a lot. Like, this is a super turbo thing. You know what I mean? That's very super turbo-ish, and he's applying it here, which is really interesting.
He took it, I mean, he did it from a great range.
Yeah.
You know? Range that allowed him to turn it into legs into ultra for the round.
Yeah, and Rose isn't going to whiff punish from that far, so, you know, it just makes him look active and very unpredictable.
Right.
And like you said, likes to use Hazanshu goes in. Unfortunate execution error from Luffy there, but he does like to use Hazanshu to get in. So again, just wanting to remain as off. Like, you can see he's playing defensive, but it looks like he's playing defensive just to get the offense. You know what I mean?
Okay, so another chance for him to deal with Rose Ultra 2. There's a fireball, playing actively. I like that he does this. You know, you know that Rose is going to get closer to you anyway, but it's about making her waste time. It's almost like an Anti-Gun Agent strategy where you're just, hey, I might take some bad positioning or damage from this, but it's going to take you a while to get in.
Right. All right, so now stuck in the corner. Okay, nice. Just try to get out there. Ooh, really huge opportunity there. Oh. No, so it looked like he did hit a button, so it looked like he did try to FADC into Ultra there. Didn't quite get it. So Valmaster definitely has the execution for a lot of really fancy things.
Yeah, there are those fierces you're talking about. Crouching jab from far away.
Yeah, sweep from way over there.
Right. Actually ends up getting punished.
Yeah, that one does. Yeah, that one was too close. And
even far stand forward.
I guess on counter hit,
yeah,
maybe?
It's counter hit, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Here he goes again. Look, jumps in there.
I think you're absolutely right when you said that Valmaster plays away only to sort of set up coming back in, because he does a great job of mixing that up. We've seen Luffy misplace some things that he, I think, otherwise wouldn't, just because he's expecting Valmaster to be far away, and then all of a sudden Valmaster's right here.
Yep.
Perfect jump range or anti-air range or range where Chun can punish a slide.
Yeah, now look at this. See? Again, orbs.
Yeah.
I'm either throwing fireballs or I'm just going to be poking at it. Later on, we're going to see a prime example of that. He's just going to be poking at orbs all day. But yeah, he's looking really good here, but he's got to be careful because obviously Luffy has all that meter.
Right.
So this is a really dangerous situation. Ooh. Okay, so he uses the...
Yeah, okay. You see that? Wake up. Hazanshu in expectation of the throw, and that's exactly what came out.
Let's go back here. So Luffy gets the hit right here. Gets the knockdown with the EX, right there with the punish. And then, you see the throw whiff right there.
Nice.
Not scared.
No, very much not scared. I think that's a hallmark of his play.
Very aggressive. Very aggressive Chun-Li. Very active, like you said.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like how he plays around with spacings. You know, that's a very intuitive thing. Not a lot of people end up doing that after they've played for years.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is I've always pictured Chun-Li as a very defensive kind of, turtle-y kind of character. But the way that Valmaster plays him, I mean, it makes me really want to play Chun-Li. You know what I mean? It's fun to see. Oh,
I'm sad that doesn't work out for him.
It does work.
It's a combo. He just didn't get it.
He just missed it because that would have been really cool.
Right?
The highlight there. But yeah, counter hit strong. But yeah, like I said, the way he plays Chun, I mean, it's exciting. It's really fun to watch. I really like watching his Chun-Li play. Oh, again, execution error from Luffy. Wants to do fireball. And he has that every time, that low short, low jab into low forward EX. Like right there. Yeah, he gets it right there. So he's pretty consistent with that. He misses it a couple of times, but still, for the most part, does really well with that.
So how we saw that slide a couple of times, and then Valmaster just got back, just out of it, and so that he could whiff punish it if Rose went to it again.
And again,
great spacing.
Chun-Li, level 1 focus forward dash, she's actually safe on that one compared to a lot of others. She's actually like +1, right? Or +1 or 2 on that situation. One of the rare characters that can do that.
I really like how he deals with that. Oh, he took a hit? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the fireballs there. Yeah, let's go back for a little bit. I just like how he deals with Rose Ultra 2.
Yeah, he was almost willing to kick into it.
Right, yeah. So he kicks into it. He actually gets hit, but you know, he's wasting some time. And then this is all about wasting time right here. Sure, Rose is going to focus that or reflect it, but that is going to waste time. You know that Ultra 2 is almost out anyway.
Yeah.
Just make Luffy spend the time to do that, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
Worked out for Valmaster.
Basically, the orbs didn't do anything then, really, in the end. Here we go, Valmaster stuck in the corner here. Oh, Luffy goes for something tricky, but nope, Chun-Li can jump off the wall. Oh, finally, the Hazanshu FADC works for him there. So that's what he was been baiting out for a while.
Exactly.
But yeah, good awareness from Valmaster just to jump off the wall, just to even remember that he had that option.
You know, he had been threatening it. I'm surprised that Luffy went for that, actually.
See, and again, he had only one bar, uses it for the EX Fireball. Again, that aggressive style, not worrying about saving meter for EX Bird Kick, you know, because you see a lot of, oh man, he went too early with that throw.
But I really like how Valmaster played that. He sees the time on the clock. If Rose throws him twice, he still wins, and time runs out. So zero reason to press a button. And so he didn't. He waited until Rose whiffed a grab, and then he punished. He played it perfectly.
Yeah, like I was saying, a lot of Chun-Lis who play, they always try to save that meter for that defensive EX spinning bird kick. We haven't seen him do a wake-up spinning, EX spinning bird kick yet.
Right.
You know, and so he's not scared to use this meter.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of Chun-Lis also will save it for super because it's so useful. You can punish things with it, link things with it very easily. And he hasn't done that either. Yeah,
he's basically been on 1 or 2 bar, 2 bars max.
Yeah.
You know, it's very rarely that I've seen him with something like a super locked and ready to go. And again, it's just
lots of activity. See? You see, even Luffy Rose is waiting out there. Like, what are you going to do this time?
Yep. Poking that low forward out when she's there, just refuses to give her that opportunity.
Oh, finally went for EX's on you. I like that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Now, yeah, life lead here, so he's in the control of the situation again. And, you know, throwing fireballs, keeping...
Still doing stuff.
Yeah, so Luffy, good adaptation there to go for the reflect instead of absorbing it.
It still doesn't turn into anything, though.
Yeah.
And he's making jump back in the corner look like it's legit. Okay, good stuff.
Yeah, and Luffy just... I think Luffy might have thought she lost the charge with the walk forward or something like that, but Valmaster actually disguised it really well there.
It's an interesting style of play from Valmaster because it feels like he's being active and aggressive. And at the same time, there have been timeouts, there have been near timeouts. Rounds have still gone a long time, so it's a confusing style.
Like I said, it's active. It's not necessarily rush down.
Right.
It's just active. He's always hitting buttons. Look at that. Backdash way over there and sweep and caught Rose, you know, Rose doing something. Like, how many players are actually going to be hitting buttons in those situations? Oh, nice empty jump. Oh, look at that. Look at 2 Hazanshus in a row. Just going for it. Oh, smart stuff. Okay, Luffy throwing her
okay, this is,
corner.
I like this.
Yeah, watch how many times he pokes here. 1.
Button.
2.
Button.
3.
Button.
And then bird kick. The first EX spinning bird kick in that situation right there.
4 active opportunities. One of them EX meter. It's just excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so he's at tournament point.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I really enjoy watching Valmaster play Chun. He makes Chun look so fun to play. Oh, nice. Low fierce in the legs. Yeah, everyone expects Chun-Li to miss that combo afterwards, so he took advantage of that and just did the walk up and throw. Smart stuff. Yeah, throwing fireballs again, just staying active. And he's, you know, he'd rather keep Luke. Because the thing is, if you don't do anything to Rose when she has those orbs out, she has 100% control over where everything ends up. You know what I mean? So smart for Valmaster just to stay tricky. But Luffy doing a good job here. Oh, got him. And then the one time he drops the combo, he totally would have won that round because he probably could have comboed into Ultra 1. It would have only hit like a couple times. You see that EX Fireball right there? Yeah. You know, just keeping him out. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a gutsy fireball. Long startup fireball. But yeah, Valmaster spending EX meter there just to take up time.
Even in a situation where it might be better to save the meter,
just
be careful, you know, to save the meter for the next round.
I don't know. I feel like he has just very interesting ideas about meter usage in general.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, that couldn't have been on purpose, but it worked out for him.
Right.
But like I said, the interesting thing is like all Chun-Lis like to save meter because like they always, when you talk to a lot, it worked again there. But when you talk to most Chun-Lis, they basically say without meter, you're super defenseless. You know, when you get knocked down, you got to get away. And nice, got him with that.
That mix-up finally worked out. That's
it. Yep, and there it is.
I like that they just sort of hang out and talk to each other afterward. That's, by the way, that's Luffy on the right there and Valmaster's on the left.
Yep. So good stuff to Valmaster there. But yeah, like you can see them just sitting there and then they just kind of talk for a little bit. But
yep.
Yeah.
A couple of top French players, both in Capcom Cup. How about that for that country?
Yeah, that's super exciting. Hey, they won Evo, so
exactly,
they have nothing left to prove.
There's a lot of talent there, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about it recently. Like, there's always been 3 regions, right? The U.S., Americas, the Asia region, and the European region. And there've always been like rivalries between the 3. And honestly, right now, like we've mentioned before in some of the other episodes we've done of this, where players from America go to Europe and then they just get blown up.
Yeah.
And it really, at this point in time, especially with Luffy taking Evo, America's kind of like in 3rd place right now.
You might be right about that. You really might be right about that. Yeah. So Valmaster, very aggressive, very active. I like, he sort of has this confusing style like we talked about. Very interesting use of meter. Very unusual, unorthodox ideas about meter usage, at least in that matchup. And those are cool ideas that are going to be, I think, tough for some people who haven't played against him, which is almost everybody in Capcom Cup, to get a handle on. It's just, you're not used to, like we said, used to Chun-Li's doing different things with meter.
Right.
Used to Chun-Li's not just whiffing buttons, not playing offense. So I think that stuff can really catch people off guard.
Yeah, and even though he spent all that meter all the time, there was very few times where it really felt like he was getting caught in wake-up situations, you know what I mean? So he was always remaining offensive and aggressive, and like you said, whenever he did get in those situations, wake up Hazanchu or something like that,
certainly it could be a matchup thing. I mean, you're not as worried about Rose pressure as you are against some characters. But that said, even against Rose, you tend not to see Chun-Li's play that style.
Exactly. So, no, I'm super excited for Valmaster. I don't know if this is his first time in the States or anything like that. Could be.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be super exciting.
It's certainly a lot of pressure, I think. We mentioned he's a 20-year-old guy. He's only been playing fighting games seriously for a couple of years. This is a major moment.
Right.
Okay.
It could be the opposite. Maybe no.
Yeah.
pressure.
Okay. Maybe so. Maybe
right?
so.
But no. Go on. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I was just going to say that it could be overwhelming to be in a foreign country. Thousands of miles away. To be
knowing all these people are watching.
Lots of people watching. You're playing against players. I was going to say players who you've heard about for years, but maybe that's not the case. I mean, maybe he doesn't have the same sort of connotation understanding of some of the players that I might have, having played so much longer. He might be in fact in an advantageous position considering that.
And then also kind of in an interesting way, like you have players like Shin who's representing his country. We've got Infiltration representing his country, Shushu representing his country.
Right.
Valmaster has Luffy kind of there too. In fact, there's probably more pressure on Luffy being the Evo champion than on Valmaster.
Yeah, I definitely agree with
I don't
that.
feel like he has the burden of the country on him. Like, I could almost see him coming in being this super relaxed state and just like beating up a bunch of people who are like really tense.
I guess that makes sense actually. There certainly will be more pressure on other people. It's not, the pressure is not going to be, at least as far as sort of an international perspective goes, maybe as far as even a French perspective goes, on him, and maybe even his own mindset. Look, he's been playing for just a couple of years, right? I mean, he has all the time in the world to win Evo and to win Capcom Pro.
Right?
See how it goes, right?
And he knows his country absolutely can win Evo too. So no, but I'm super excited for him. Again, it'll be really cool to see how he does. It's going to be at Capcom Cup 2014, which is taking place December 13th. If you're there, just go. It'll be a mistake not to go because the venue is so awesome. The venue is really cool. And obviously, if you can't make it there, then subscribe or follow Capcom Fighters at least on twitch.tv. So that way you get notification on Pacific time. It's going to start around, I think, 10:30, like festivities and stuff like that. Just tune in, log in, turn the channel on, and just sit there and wait for it to go because you do not want to miss a second. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff there. Again, that's twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters.
And if you like this sort of stuff where we talk about players and matches and analyze things, talk about news and all that sort of stuff, then come check us out at our channel, which is youtube.com/UltraChenTV, and live version is twitch.tv/UltraChenTV.
Yeah, give us a follow as well. And yeah, I mean, we like to try to teach Street Fighter from every angle. So from beginners and talk about the super high level strategies and such like that. We also do a lot of, talking about what's been going on in the FGC, the fighting game community, and news and stuff like that. So.
All right, well, thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you soon at Capcom Cup.
All right.